this chapter was painful. Like, oh my god, the moment those two Japanese, before I start sounding anti-Semitic, alright? Let me just start to dwell on the positive side of this chapter, because it seems as though the two videos I made yesterday and the day before that one are turning out to be true. I was actually pretty lucky in making those videos when I did, because now I think it's a lot more obvious that Luohan is being built up as the villain of this series. And I'll probably have to make more videos fleshing out this point, although I do recommend you watch my videos, which will be in the description, where I talk about why I didn't trust Luohan, because there are so many hints and red flags behind Luohan before Oma started saying that he didn't trust him and that he felt malice for him. There are actually a lot of other hints that show that no, Luohan isn't exactly a trustworthy person. From his introduction to his character design, everything is just bad. His personality as well, bad. And I flesh it out along with Shen Wulong and the problem with him in that video. With this one, I want to focus on the negotiations breaking down, because Oma essentially can sense that there isn't something right with Luohan. And if Oma wasn't there, I really do think Ryuki might have been taken in, because Luohan did say something that was true in this chapter, or a few things that you could say are true. One is that Shen Wulong is something else in human form. I mean, most people would believe that, right? But also that Gaio Mokaku has passed away. And Ryuki is hearing this for the first time, because last time he saw Mokaku was way back in the inside, and he was alive and well and being a horrible grandfather. And so Luohan might have used this as bait for Ryuki, which again shows just how calculated he is, to where if he has leverage, he'll try to use it to manipulate the situation. Luohan had hooked Ryuki into his plan basically, even though Ryuki was skeptical of what Luohan was saying. If it wasn't for Oma saying, nah dog, like, we can't trust this person, because he says, even though Shen Wulong is an enigma, Luohan is also an enigma, but he senses malice from him. And I want to point out this trend because I think Luohan is the only other character in the story so far that has been directly compared to Shen, I think 2 times at this point. The first time was when the narrator was saying that Wulong's stride was better than Luohan's. To me, that was kind of odd, and I actually said in my chapter reviewing that chapter, I was like, yeah, this to me kind of shows that Luohan is more than likely the closest person to Shen, because Shen Wulong hasn't been compared to another fighter before. And so I think that this maintains that contrast between characters, between Wulong and Luohan. And I know some people are going to say, oh well, Wulong slapped the shit out of Luohan, but I don't think it's that simple. I think it could be plausible that Luohan just takes the hit and doesn't do anything, because 1, he'll probably lose to Wulong. 2, even if he comes close to winning, Yan won't let that slide. The other world members will probably won't let that slide. And so I think Luohan is in a disadvantageous position, which is why it seems as though he has betrayed the worm. Now, that's the way it seems. There could be a loophole behind what happened at it. And one of the comments did say that Zaiji might be involved. And I could see Luohan using Zaiji as a sort of divergence to basically cover up for him. Because we do know that Zaiji also probably knew about Luohan, because he's the one who brought Oma's heart. There's a direct connection between Zaiji and Luohan. And so I can definitely see him playing a part in this entire thing. But all of that being said, after he sees the negotiations basically break down, he just leaves the offer on the table, saying that we are the same in this. And the type of panel that we see here, where half of his face seems to be shaded in black, again, it really, I think the author and the mangaka, the one who's drawing, are definitely going out of their way to portray Luohan in this sort of evil, conniving type of way. But now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about the major disappointment, and that is that we've basically got cucked, and the fight between Kuroki, Shen Wulong, and that entire hype thing is already over. No conclusion. Surprisingly, Fu is still alive. I can't believe it. At first I was disappointed and I was like, wait, Fu is still alive? What is this? And so, it seems as though they managed to overthrow the people that hired Kuroki as an assassin, and at this point they kind of have no choice but to leave the worm and Shen Wulong alone. And that is exactly what ends up happening, but not before there is a very interesting exchange between Wulong and Kuroki, where both of them basically acknowledge that they were holding back against each other. Problem is, though it does kind of seem like, oh, they were both holding back, it doesn't matter. Wulong called Kuroki a weakling. Kuroki has admitted to being a weakling. He just doesn't think it matters that much because, again, Kuroki believes that, hey, look, even the strongest person on the planet itself, if you just hit them the right way, they go down. And so Kuroki was looking for a sort of opportunity, you could say, and doesn't believe just because there's a huge power gap that other opponent is basically insurmountable. Which may or may not be the case. I think that there is a case to be made when it comes to basically that, but I guess we'll see what ends up happening with Kuroki and Shen Wulong in the future. Other than that, there was that bummer of that we didn't really, besides like Shen versus Gensai, we didn't really get much of the other fights. But maybe we'll see them in the future. Let's see what happens from this point forward. Because I think we'll basically be going into maybe Kuroki's thoughts on Shen Wulong, get his proper thoughts on the matter, as well as picking the fighter who will be the person Shen Wulong will fight in the Kengan match, which I think for now, unless like there's like a month that they'll leave open for training or something like that, because Oma and Ryuki did kind of talk about having to improve, so there could be a chance where there is some time. But currently, as I've said before, the best person to pick would be Kuroki when it comes to fighting Shen Wulong at this point in time. But yeah, that's the video. If you like the discussion, don't forget to like and sub, and until next time, take it easy.